Coming up tonight, a new report on the value of the art at the DIA, and could it impact votes on the bankruptcy plan? Plus, a warning to charter schools. A Michigan senator leads the charge to overrule the Supreme Court when it comes to companies covering birth control, and fill in the blank. It's all coming up right now on MiWeek.
Recently, Michigan's economy has begun to turn around. Michigan's gained over 250,000 new jobs. We've paid off $20 billion in long-term debt. And our population is increasing for the first time in a decade. But to make Michigan a top 10 state, there's still plenty of work to be done. Step up and help put Michigan on top. Learn what you can do at MichiganTurnaroundPlan.com.
Funding is also provided by Delta.
Hi there, welcome to MiWeek. I'm Christy McDonald. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a lot to get to tonight, including a warning for charter schools in Michigan, plus Michigan's role in the Supreme Court Hobby Lobby decision, and what does money really mean in a campaign? But we do start tonight with a report on the value of the art at the DIA. Just days before retirees and creditors vote on the city's restructuring plan, an investment firm appraised the entire collection and said it could be worth as much as $4.6 billion, which makes creditors looking for a bigger cut from the city salivate. Does this have any impact in the vote that is supposed to be registered by tomorrow? Let's start right there with our MiWeek contributors, Nolan Finley of the Detroit News, Stephen Henderson of the Detroit Free Press, and I'm just going to say straight off, gentlemen, sorry for the low voice today, fighting that summer cold that's going around.
Some viewers will really like that.
I know. I think I kind of sound like B. Arthur a little bit, so I'll try to keep my yelling to a minimum today, okay, Nolan? So that means that you've got to behave just a little bit. All right, let's talk about this new appraisal of the art. What does this really mean in the big scheme of things, Stephen?
Not very much, frankly. I mean, it's a number, and it's a number that'll get some people excited. But you know, for starters, that's a rough appraisal. It's not a market appraisal. If you dumped all that art onto the market at one time, it would likely be significantly less. But more importantly, are the covenants and things that are attached to most of the pieces in this report. You can't just go put the stuff out on the lawn with a price tag. These are pieces that were given to the museum in some cases with conditions on them. They are pieces that you know have restrictions on what can be done with them, and so the idea that you could get this money is a much further sort of, you know, highfalutin, far-flung idea than this report sort of suggests. So if you're a creditor or if you're the retirees, you may think, oh, we could get more out of that, but that's a really dangerous notion.
I was just going to say, is the city kind of wiping their brow and saying, phew, glad this report didn't come out a couple weeks ago, because those votes are due tomorrow and they had to be in the mail to California. So do you think this could theoretically probably not change any vote?
The vote because it comes too late. What it does do, I think, is begin to set up a case for appeal if these creditors decide to appeal whatever the ultimate bankruptcy decision is. This gives them a piece of ammunition to say, look, they've got assets they're hiding, or they've got assets they're undervalued. I think there's no question that the original estimate of that, the value of that art that came in, I think less than $1 billion, 800 million, that was a low ball number. And I think that these creditors are saying, look, there's money here that you're not considering, that you're not putting in the equation, and that money rightfully belongs to us.
But they can't force a city to sell an asset like this in the bankruptcy.
No, that's the whole point of Chapter 9, you know, the municipal bankruptcy code, which is different from Chapters 7 or 11, which do allow the court to force companies, you know, companies can be forced to liquidate in bankruptcy, you know, just go away, sell everything. The whole idea of Chapter 9 is to preserve the city's ability to function on the backside of the bankruptcy, and so selling assets is a last case sort of scenario.
But it clearly wasn't out of the question. If it was out of the question, you wouldn't have had the state and these foundations raising $800 and some million. So there was some concern that the art could be ordered sold by the court or put in place somehow. So I think this valuation will have a factor when they go to the Sixth Circuit in Cincinnati and say, hey, this wasn't a fair process.
And it'll be very, it's incumbent on Judge Rhodes, who again has to approve all of this. And we keep talking about this grand bargain as though
it's a done deal.
Right. If the creditors agree to it, that somehow it will be okay. The judge still has to go through this whole thing and decide whether it comports enough with bankruptcy law to survive an appeal. He's not going to sign off on something that he thinks is going to get overturned in the Sixth Circuit.
And that's where we'll be in August when this entire thing comes into court. But let's talk real quick before we leave this topic on the vote that is due in tomorrow. Kevin Orr, he came on our show a couple weeks ago. He's been out saying, you need to vote for this. We'll find out on July 21st. Are there anything that you're hearing about which way it might go?
I mean, they've been saying right along that they feel the vote's coming in their favor. But I mean, it's an odd vote, and it's going to be hard to figure out. Not only do a majority of the retirees have to say, yeah, we're for it, but the vote is weighted on how much how much pension you draw. So it's a real complex process. They could win a majority of the retirees and still lose the vote because some of the higher paid retirees rejected it.
The city filed for bankruptcy protection a year ago. It'll be next week. Yeah. Could you have imagined that we would be at this point, everything that has happened so far this year, Stephen?
I think we're moving at like light speed through this thing. I mean, if you look at other cities that have filed, before us, they're not anywhere close to the point where we are at right now. I mean, we're already talking about getting out and what will happen when we get control of the city back under the mayor and the council and say goodbye to Kevin Orr and all that sort of stuff. Other cities that are in this predicament don't move that quickly through the process. So.
Nolan, could you have predicted we'd be at this point?
I agree. I think we're a lot further ahead than I would have thought, but we're still not through the obstacle course, if you will. Anything could pop up now and derail this and turn a process that has been going swiftly and smoothly into could bog it down.
But that really depends.
Certainly the retirees reject this. It gets bogged down. If it does go to appeal, this process drags out for years instead of for just a few months.
But a lot of it, I think, again, Rhodes becomes the central character, right, in this drama at this point. I mean, the way he handles all of this stuff, the way he handles the retiree vote, the way he conducts this trial, and how much leeway he gives to creditors to make their case, that they want to do something different, and then how he rules and how he writes that opinion is going to have a lot to do with
Is it still possible to get a deal with the creditors, the non-retiree creditors, the institutional folks?
You mean before the trial?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they can strike deals at any point, and in fact, if the retirees,
I know they can, but is it likely, or do these people seem entrenched to you?
I think if the retirees vote for it, that puts more pressure on the other unsecured creditors to
say we're in.
To say, this is probably the best it's going to get. And
is there a sweetener still available? I think that's the big question. Everybody.
What else can they put in?
What else can you put in to bring these folks?
Or have they put everything on the table that they have, that there's no more sweetener?
Well, I mean, the unsecured creditors are not. They weren't offered any sweeteners. I mean, they are taking it, pretty hard in this deal. I mean, very, very big write-downs of their debt. I don't think the city's in a position to really offer them anything because, unless we're going to sell assets, which we don't want to do.
All right, well, moving on, checking in on charter school reform here in Michigan. Since the Free Press did a series of reports on more oversight for school authorizers, well, this week, State Superintendent Mike Flanagan said he is warning authorizers that new charters won't be given if school performance doesn't measure up. The department will look at academics, transparency, financial practices at the charter schools. Now, both people on the charter school debate, proponents for charter schools and people who are not fond of charter schools, say this is a great move. But didn't the superintendent have this ability all along?
Sure he did. And it's interesting. Ingrid Jacks has a column in our paper today talking about this issue, and she notes that 88 charter schools have been shut down by their authorizers for poor performance very few public schools, if any. No public school has been shut down for poor academic performance. We just had the Michigan Merit Exam results come out and the ACT exams. We have 4 full school districts in Michigan, Ecorse, River Rouge, Westwood, and Highland Park, that didn't graduate a single kid college ready. I think Mike Flanagan's got bigger problems than charter school authorizers in this state.
What did you think when Mike Flanagan came out this week?
Well, I mean, I think this is the right move, and it's got to be complemented by the legislature and the governor saying, look, we're spending $1 billion a year on this experiment, which was proposed as an experiment 20 years ago. I can remember.
Do you really think it's still an experiment?
Well, I think it is I will put it this way. I think it's unproven in aggregate in terms of what effect it really has on education in the state. There are some great charter schools in Michigan. There's no question. My kids go to one of them, and so there's no greater imprimatur of support than that. But at the same time, there's a charter school across the street from my house that I would not send my children to and wouldn't want anyone else to be.
Which public school in the
going
city
to.
would you send your kids to school?
The public school in our district is the highest performing school
So
in
why
the
don't
state.
you send your kids there?
I can't get my kids in. It's oversubscribed.
I mean, charter schools aren't the problem. There are a few examples. The Free Press did a very good job of citing those few examples of poor performing charter schools, of charter schools that are abusing their trust, but they also have been a life raft for a large number of kids, particularly in urban areas. And if you look at the number of kids they've taken and graduated and given at least a chance, are they all where they need to be? No, it's still an ongoing process. But education in Michigan is mediocre at best and is more likely should be considered a failure when only 17% of the kids graduate college ready. Problem isn't charter school or too much choice. The problem is institutional failure across the board. And to single out charter schools, I mean,
it's not about singling out charter schools. Let's remember how these were pitched, right? When John Engler came to the Free Press 20 years ago to try to get our support for this legislation, he said 2 things were going to happen. One was that this would increase dramatically the quality choices that people in places like Detroit would have.
And they have.
That's unproven. I mean, there are some better choices.
Absolutely.
Well, these are choices that I have to make. I'm saying most of them are not acceptable.
Some are. Most of them are doing
the other
fine
thing
job.
the other thing he said was going to happen was that this would make the public schools better, that introducing competition into the marketplace would raise the level of performance of the public schools. There is no question that in the district where I live, in Detroit, that hasn't happened at all. The public schools are worse than they were 20 years ago. And so I think if we're going to evaluate charters, this was taking public money spent for a constitutional purpose and giving it to private operators who we were told would perform a certain way. It's perfectly reasonable to look at what we've gotten out of that after 20 years, and I think there's no question that we're coming up short.
No, there's no question it's reasonable to look, but most charter schools are meeting their mission. They are improving. They didn't come out the gate where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years, but most of them are showing good progress.
Well, they've had 20 years.
They're graduating more children. The difference between a charter school and a public high school in Detroit is they keep their children through 9th and 12th grade. Their
Well, they keep
dropout
the
rates
kids that they keep.
are very, very small. Their discipline problems are very, very low. Much fewer teen pregnancies.
Kick a lot of kids out.
No, they don't.
Hang on, but I think also then if you're starting to talk about timing, you're talking about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years that we've been involved with charter schools here in the state of Michigan. How much longer, I guess, do you give certain schools? Do you put time limits on
Well,
them?
you've given the public schools 100 years and they're still failing.
But the difference, there's an important difference there,
What
right?
is it?
There is a constitutional mandate that the state of Michigan has to provide an adequately funded education for all kids. That is where the notion of public schools come from. Public schools perform a lot of other duties other than just existing, and so you can't close a public school. people have to be able to go to school.
So when you got, you
I'm not
use the
saying
word adequate, Steve. When you've got a statewide public school system that's graduating fewer than
Agreed.
20% of its kids
That's where
prepared
we
to
agree.
do anything meaningful in life,
Yeah.
is that an adequate education?
not.
And if not, then
But
you
the
have to try other
alternative-
things. And charter schools, for the most part, are working for these
Is that the
kids.
school? Is that the curriculum? Is that the teacher?
Here's the thing:
who
you
knows?
can't
Could be the
close.
parents.
You can't close public schools because you have to have a school for people to go to particularly in places like Detroit, where
So no matter how big of
No,
a failure factory, you've got to keep that school open. You
I think you
absolutely
have to.
don't under Michigan.
I think you have a different
under Michigan
obligation. I
law.
think you have a different obligation to make public schools work and perform than you do with
So
charter
you have
schools,
a higher
which are.
tolerance for failure in a public
It's not.
school.
That's not what I'm saying. What
It's
I'm
a
saying
different-
is that
is
you
it a
have
different
Where was
standard?
Flanagan this week saying, okay, what are we going to do about Ecorse, River Rouge, Westwood?
We've been
Highland
having
Park?
those arguments for
What are
30
we going
years
to do
in
about these
in,
schools that
Michigan.
don't graduate a single child
Agreed.
with an adequate education?
The answer is to
where's the
fix
scrutiny
them.
there?
The answer is to fix them, and we've been having that argument for a long time in Michigan.
The beauty of charter schools is that parents have, the parents have a choice. They're not stuck, they're not locked in this public school. They can choose. If they feel that charter school is failing their child, they can get them out.
That's a false choice
right
in a
then.
lot
But if
of
that's
places
supposed to be a
like
choice,
Detroit.
shouldn't
That's
it be a
it's
good choice?
We know what.
Well,
we know
and
what
for the most
choice
part,
is.
they are.
We know how choice works in places like Detroit, where transportation is still a huge issue. Most parents in Detroit do not have a choice of just sending their kids to whatever school there is. You also have.
Well, half of them
you
do.
Also,
I mean, half of them opted out of the Detroit public schools.
Hang
which
on,
is a
finish.
series
But you
of
also
Finish,
have,
Steve.
You also have the issue of who gets taken into some of these charter schools, and let's not pretend that some charter schools don't cherry pick kids and don't deal with.
Wait. By
don't
law,
deal
they have
with-
to do it by a blind draw lottery. You know
They
that.
put kids out at higher rates than public schools do. They don't deal with kids with special needs
I don't think
in the
that's
same
true.
way that the public schools do.
They have to take in special needs kids if they are selected in the lottery.
But they don't.
They absolutely
don't,
do.
We all know the stories about kids who are locked out of that system, and that's why the public
don't know
schools.
that.
That's why the public schools exist. That's why we have to invest in making the public schools better. That is the
Okay,
constitutional
Highland Park,
mandate.
we've invested in that for how many years? They have the highest per pupil funding in Metro Detroit, and they didn't graduate.
Mostly because of restricted federal funds. I mean,
It's
you
still money.
never.
It's still money, Steve.
But
it's
it's money you have to spend certain
it's
ways.
still the highest amount of money per pupil, and they didn't graduate a single kid.
All right, I'm gonna end on one last thing here because this obviously is a great discussion. It's been happening all over the state since the series came out in the Free Press. This week, the president talked about, and Arnie Duncan, as Secretary of Education, talked about getting better teachers in poor performing districts. Do you think that that's also part of this puzzle here?
There's
as
no
well?
question. You got to get the highest quality teachers into the most desperate public schools in the situations, and we don't have a system that's even remotely set up to do that, to attract those teachers there or to give them the support that they need once they're there. There's a lot of work to do with the public schools, but the answer. The idea that the answer to criticism of charter schools is, well, the public schools are failing too, is absolutely false, because we were sold on the idea that charter schools were supposed to make everything better, and they have not.
They are making education better
They're making
for
some
a lot
things
of
better,
families,
but they have
and
not done what they were promised
They've
to do.
saved a lot of kids from a life of despair.
They have.
Kids who would have otherwise dropped out are now on a better route. They've saved a lot of children.
They have.
And I think you have to credit.
But the indictment of the
credit
public schools is an indictment of the mission of charter schools, because again, we were sold on the
indictment
idea.
of education across the
Well,
state.
but the idea is that we were sold on the idea that charter schools would make all schools better, and they have not done that.
All right, this is a good discussion, and I'm glad that it's happening, and I'm sure we're going to have it a lot
Let's
more
hope
before.
we have it in the fall when the legislature gets
I was just
back.
going to say, when the legislature gets back and the kids get back inside the classroom. All right, Michigan is playing an interesting role in the aftermath, excuse me, of the Supreme Court's decision over private companies, religious freedom, and birth control coverage. First off, we know the court ruled that closely held corporations do not have to pay for birth control for employees that is mandated by the Affordable Care Act if it violates their religious beliefs. Now, this week, Congress is trying to go around the court. Senator Carl Levin has co-sponsored a bill to reinstate access to birth control for women at private companies. And since the Supreme Court decision was based on a federal statute, Congress could change the law. And this act that they're talking about, they've introduced, is called the Protect Women's Health from Corporate Interference Act. So making sure that freedom of religion is not used to deny medical care. I think it's interesting that, and we also have several Michigan companies that are involved in litigation as well.
Listen, they could have fixed this from the start, avoided all this lawsuit, if they would have simply been less rigid in the mandates of Obamacare. And that's the problem with this thing across the board. It allows for very little flexibility in structuring health care plans. And in this case, the objection these companies have are to a very limited range of these drugs. It's the abortion-inducing drugs that they object to. It is not for the most part, most of these companies would continue to offer traditional birth control in their coverage.
Well,
it's the very few drugs that they are opposed to.
And I think you would have doctors and you would have a lot of physicians organizations that would argue against that these are not abortion-inducing drugs.
That's the big lie. That's the big lie that keeps being told about this, is that these are abortion drugs. These are drugs that are used in the normal course of dealing with reproductive health for women in this country. And these are people who object because they liken it to abortion on a religious basis, and they have no right to do that.
Many of these companies offered birth control coverage in their previous policies. It was the mandates of the Obamacare that led to the
Actually,
issue
it's not the Affordable Care Act that's the problem. It's RFRA, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is some 20 years old. Most Democrats, in fact, voted for that. That's the statute that's problematic here.
And that's what that's what some legislators are trying to change now.
People are really angry at the court about this ruling, but really, it's hard to say that the justices got it wrong. They are interpreting the interplay between the Affordable Care Act and RFRA, and there's a conflict there. The truth is that you could have written the Affordable Care Act to abrogate some provisions of RFRA. I mean, Congress can do that with any statute that it has. They didn't do it, and so now we have this problem. This is the right fix. What Senator Levin is proposing. Now, will it pass in Congress? That's a political question.
Nolan, last word on this.
Well, what you have with Obamacare, again, the problem is the rigid mandates, the lack of flexibility.
It wasn't determination
to get between employers and their employees and their insurance company and mandate everything and control everything. Had these companies been allowed the flexibility to structure plans that work for them and their employees, you wouldn't have these lawsuits.
All right, I think it's time to end the show with a game because we've had a great
Truth or
show.
dare.
All right, so we're going to play Fill in the Blank. It's one of my favorite games where Nolan and Stephen help fill in the blank of the headlines. Okay, so U.S. Senate candidate Gary Peters raised just under $2 million in April, May, and June. Terry Lynn Land, also running for U.S. Senate, raised $3.3 million in the same time period. So Nolan, fill in the blank. This must mean
Michigan's Senate seat is in play, and people nationwide think it could make the difference in who controls the Senate in the fall.
This must mean, Stephen?
Terry Lynn Land's got deep pockets. Most of the money, the difference between what she raised and what Gary Peters raised was the check she wrote into her own fund. It must be nice to be able to self-fund to the tune of a couple $1 million.
Well, Peters has got that
losing effort.
California billionaire on mainlining money to him, so it all balances out.
So what? So the money doesn't mean anything?
Money means everything.
Yeah.
That's what you're seeing, all this money come in here because this race is critical to control of the Senate, and people think it's in play.
Most
of this money's coming from the outside.
Right. You wait till you see the numbers in the fall. They will absolutely balloon.
Yeah,
this is going to be a
on both sides.
$50–60 million race.
Easily.
All right, let's move on to the other one. The Michigan Supreme Court ruled this week juvenile lifers serving mandatory life sentences for murder will not get resentencing hearings in the wake of a Supreme Court case, the ruling 2 years ago. This makes Michigan look, Stephen, fill in the blank.
Like Alabama or some other backward southern state when it comes to civil rights and justice. I mean, the court said you can't apply this kind of blanket sentence to people who are, under the age of 18. that's a clear, I think, indication that you have to reconsider those cases. That doesn't mean you have to let people out of jail. It means you have to look more closely at the facts of their case and the sentence that they had and the time they spent in prison and make a new determination. That's all that's at stake here, and we're really denying a pretty basic opportunity there by doing that.
Last 30 seconds, Nolan, this makes Michigan look
Inflexible. I think you have to look at things, I agree with Stephen, on a case-by-case basis. I think this trend over the years to remove judicial or discretion in sentencing and in handling, particularly of juvenile cases, has been a big mistake. Not all of these kids are in the same category. Some of them should be locked up probably forever. Some of them probably don't even remember what it is they did or why.
All right. Well, that is going to have to do it for us. Oh, real quick, fill in the blank. The Tigers in the All-Star game, but they missed out on
Porcello, vote for Rick. Get him in there. That's
him in there,
ridiculous.
right?
He's having a great year.
All right, so I think I'm going to stop talking. That is going to do it for MiWeek. Thanks so much for joining us. Check us out, MiWeek.org, for more stories on Detroit's bankruptcy and our work with the Detroit Journalism Cooperative. I'm Christy McDonald. Have a great weekend. See you next Thursday.
Recently, Michigan's economy has begun to turn around. Michigan's gained over 250,000 new jobs. We've paid off $20 billion in long-term debt. And our population is increasing for the first time in a decade. But to make Michigan a top 10 state, there's still plenty of work to be done. Step up and help put Michigan on top. Learn what you can do at MichiganTurnaroundPlan.com.
Funding is also provided by Delta.